All right, I want to talk about George Floyd. I mean, Derek Chauvin, who is getting sentenced to 22 and a half years in the joint. Now, I'm going to say this right here. Derek Chauvin did a stupid mistake for one thing, but at the same time, you're not going to hear me herald George Floyd as a saint either, because George Floyd was also guilty for resisting arrest while he was being apprehended. Now, here's the thing: the majority of the jury during the trial was literally pro Floyd, anti anti Chauvin to begin with. Yet they didn't even bring up the fact that the amount of heavy drugs that George Floyd used was a contributing factor to his death. Let me repeat that again. The jury was literally pro Floyd, anti Chauvin, and they didn't bring up the fact that George Floyd had had amount of heavy drugs in his system, which was a contribution to his death. I just love it how this was all propagated for for political reasons. That's literally a fact. It was all propagated for political reasons. And when you really look at it, compared to like, other sentencing reasons, you know, people always want to talk about how the justice system is unfair. Well, it is unfair at that moment. But I will say this, neither Floyd nor Chauvin were saints anyway. So both of them were literally in the wrong to begin with. And I'm just gonna say this right here. Um, you know, the whole situation is still kind of sad. You know, and I will also set the record straight. Had the verdict became a different outcome, we will already see like more rioting and things like that. Especially here in Madison, Wisconsin, which is a progressive leftist hellhole to begin with. And I'm also going to set the record straight that that here that it's it's just sad to see that many of these a lot of cases like this tend to not be on the fair and balanced level. I do feel that this wasn't it was an unfair trial, but at the same at the same time, you gotta at the same time it's like, I don't know, but like I said before, like I said earlier, the only reason why Derek Chauvin is going is getting sentenced and he was found guilty. It was literally because of mob rule, and we already know mob rule is not justice. Well, unless if you're a progressive lefty to begin with. And while we're at it, I want to talk about one thing here. You know, in the past couple of weeks, let's just say that there's been a lot of, we're hearing like a lot of cities, a lot of major cities across America have skyrocketing crime. And all of these cities happen to be primarily Democratic. You know, you know, LA, Baltimore, New York City, Chicago. We see even Milwaukee. It's a lot of skyrocketing crime going on in each city, in each of those cities, right then and there. Not too long ago, you had Lori Light, Lori Lightfoot, a.k.a. Beetlejuice, a.k.a. Yeah, you had Lori Lightfoot calling, trying to school this Newsmax reporter. I forgot what his name is. Regarding about her quote unquote facts, and when in reality, her quote unquote facts were all lies and deception. It was, over in the city that she is supposedly trying to govern. There was like a stabbing in downtown Chicago, and it was like a vast amount of other shootings elsewhere. And then the way how she sounded, she was like really angry. But apparently, not only she was angry, she was like evasive. And when you really got to factor in is this: with all the skyrocketing crime rate going on in every major city across America, it makes you want to ask the question: how's that defund the police nonsense that they want to speak of? How is that working? Because when you defund the police, like I stated last year, when you cut the police forces, you're talking about out of control crime. But the politicians and the activists who preach this don't give a flying rat's tail. And it shows. And then they'll be the one that'll complain about all this crime going on. And even when they do complain, they don't look at it. They don't care. All they are is just nothing but total frauds and charlatans. I'm looking at you, Al Sharpton. I'm looking at you, Ben Crump. But that's really what I need to say. I am Chuck Johnson, a.k.a. Kid Thunder. I am signing out. You guys take care.